up. I loaded up in there and I already go at it.
Awesome.
I guess we're a couple minutes late, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's all right. That's what happens. God, this whole day has been 10 minutes late to everything. All right, looks like that's going. Ta-da! All right, hey, I like the background. That's really cool.
Yeah, mix it up. Taylor did this one for me.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I told her she should make more for me. I need it. I also want to come up with like a clay one. Well, this.
Just rotate through them like Zoom backgrounds.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Especially when somebody clicks on a video, if they're all the same, it's like, why would I click on this video? What's different about it? In the thumbnail. All right, I think have all these stories lined up.
Okay, excellent.
So we can pay attention to those wonderful folks joining the show.
Yeah. Picking up some fire out for the Facebook page too. So
yes, Flagel, this is fun. Yeah, very
That's
nice.
Why we do it. If it wasn't fun, we wouldn't do it.
Yeah, very nice place cards, placards. Yes. Yeah. You're right.
I have profound ADD. I literally can't do it if it's not fun. And this has been really enjoyable.
Yeah. It's how I get my news.
Yeah. I mean, and for those people who haven't heard us explain this before, this is basically, this is literally what I do when I go over to Dallin's house, except I haven't done that in 6 weeks, where he goes, what happened today? And I go, well, let me tell you about it. And so he doesn't know what any of the stories are. Like I send them all to him so he can queue them up, but he hasn't read them. So it's not like it's a total surprise or anything, but it's pretty much what we do.
They want you to move your mic closer, but I think it's actually on my end, folks.
Okay.
I think he's got it high enough. I think I had it turned down, so he's back up.
All right, excellent.
Yes.
So tonight's drink of choice while we're doing sound level test is, I totally forgot what it is. Got this from, thanks to our governor decimating all regulations due to alcohol, because they originally were busting people selling margaritas, mostly Mexican restaurants, obviously. And then everybody complained about it. So they're like, let's let them sell the margaritas because everybody wants a margarita. So they're doing cocktails to go now. And this, I've totally forgotten what it is. But it's got a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of mango. It's kind of orangey. I'm sure there's rum in here, but I don't know.
And who did you get that from?
I got that from the Green Lantern, which is a very old dive bar in Lexington. Sold that it had a prior location. It's been around so long that they existed for 20 or 30 years before trademark laws changed to the point where they would get in trouble. But it's a great little place. They've got a big Green Lantern out front. And because it's about that, not the superhero. And so they've been selling cocktails to go right out the front door, and went over there a couple of days ago and picked up a jar.
It'll be interesting. I mean,
speaking of which, I gotta be right back. I realize I have not turned on my overhead light in here.
All right, you pop that on.
Close to going down. I get all fuzzy and dark. Nobody wants to see that.
Indeed. I've got for everyone there. I've got some. What do I have? I've fixed the board so I can do sounds a little easier without having to look all over the place. But yeah, it's been a good day. Hope you all are having a nice time. Yeah, busy is good. Busy can be good or bad for you. Everyone else, I think, Drew. When you're busy, lots of things could be happening, but then lots of things could be happening.
Yeah, like our ad numbers came in for April. Whew, boy, it sucked. But what are you gonna do? But the other thing I was doing today was I was chasing down the bank trying to get that PPP loan finished.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why it's so hard. It seems like it was easy for everybody else, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm not a bank guy, and we're definitely not one of their top clients. Right. So I doubt we're a priority. And the bank is located in West Virginia, which might be the
you had
problem.
To drive to West Virginia or just call them on the phone?
Oh, yeah. No. We're just like back and forth. But you know how it is. It's like they have 5 people working on this, and not one single one of them knows all the parts, etc.
Yeah. It is interesting. I am enjoying seeing the stories of people, companies, public companies who are giving the money back. Oh, we shouldn't have taken this? Oh,
I didn't
meant for small businesses? Oh.
I didn't key that story up, but today the LA Lakers gave back $4 million.
They took money?
Yeah, I know. And I love how every single one of these companies is like, "Oh, we had no idea it was for small business."
Right.
It said so in the goddamn application. It's right there. I love it. The Lakers. Who else got it? It was Chick-fil-A. Ruth's Chris was the one I liked. It's like, well, the Ruth's Chris was bad because they took the money and they fired everybody. You're not supposed to do both of those. Pick one, guys.
Good move. Good move.
It's pretty insane. So, we're going to get one of those out every week. And I like how Secretary Mnuchin is claiming that there's going to be legal action involved in this. No, there isn't. It's legal. It's on the damn application. So you guys wrote it wrong. It's not their fault.
Right.
I mean, they shouldn't do it either, but I don't know what charges you bring.
No, the shaming seems to be enough.
Yes,
they're like, okay, yeah, oh yeah, we'll send it back. I guess that wasn't so cool on our part.
Yeah, my bad. I guess the Lakers really don't need the $4 million. Yeah. I've got an interesting comment on the Fark comments. Fecking Morons asked whether or not it's possible. He thinks it's possible to monetize a Twitch channel. And the answer is yes, you can. We haven't been doing a whole lot of it because we're still, I don't know, man. Like this is still so low budget and honestly fun. That it seems kind of dumb, but if you want to, you can subscribe to this channel because I set it up. So there's 3 levels. You can subscribe as a $5 subscriber or a $10 subscriber or a $25 subscriber. What do you get? Nothing. You know what we get? $5. And that's where alcohol comes from. So you're helping us out here. And we have 1 subscriber, but I can't tell who it is because I haven't figured out the interface yet. And it might be me. But anyway, thanks to whoever the hell that is. Good job. We really appreciate it. That's going to buy a 6-pack of beer eventually. So,
yeah. Ox 45 Tallboy says I got an ad before this started. So yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay.
So they're running ads off of it.
Interesting. I didn't know I set that one up either. I might turn that off because honestly, it's like you get like less than a penny for that. Subscriptions are where it's at. Of course, I guess that's what you do, right? You threaten people with ads and then you make them subscribe.
Make us turn these off. It's a thought. But most things that I've seen that actually work out or are successful on this level are things they have to be fun. If they're not, I've quit so many things that aren't fun. It just doesn't last. Like paying you, I mean, that's why you have a job in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, you're not going to do your job past the point of no money. Like, sorry, we love you. We can't pay you. Will you stay at this company?
Yeah. You want to stick around? Although it seems like teachers have that kind of going on. It's like, hey, we have the money for you to buy supplies. Why don't you handle that? And it's like, my sister's a teacher. I could go on for days. But anyway, that's not cool. That shouldn't happen. But you know how it goes.
No. What I want them to do is I really despise fundraisers. I like it, though. There have been a few recently, though, where they're like, just give us this cash. That'll be And I'm like, yes, this is what I want. I don't want to buy your chocolate. I don't want to buy your thing. Happy to give you money. Well, man, are we ready to roll?
I think so. Yeah, I just had a friend of mine was trying to get on Twitch and couldn't make it work. I've heard that from a couple of people.
Oh, really?
I mean, I had the same problem, but I was setting it up to broadcast, so I just figured that was the issue. Apparently, it's just hard to sign up for it. But yeah, that's why we're streaming on Facebook. The reason we're not linking to it is because Facebook's the devil. But, if you happen to be on there and you don't mind them, knowing what you want 5 seconds before you've thought of it, that's cool. That no complaints there. It's just that's why we're linking to Twitch instead of
there you go.
Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we could get this going here. Let me double check and make sure I gotta check the Fark comments again.
Sounds
That's the
good.
problem is they're having to read several versions of the comments. I like how the Fark comments they're generally talking about other stuff.
Sure, why not? That's and a lot of times that's what entertainment is for me. Is it's just it can be background filler. It's things going on, and it's like I enjoy it. Some of the podcasts I listen to the most are ones that I can listen, jump in and out of conversations as it's going.
Yeah.
But we'll get this party started now.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, Drew can't hear?
Not yet.
Oh, well, we got to do that again then if you didn't hear. That means that means I haven't given you the audio.
No, that's right. I didn't have audio.
How about now? Now do you feel like it? Now does it feel like a party?
It's a little strong, man. I mean, I like this music. Don't get me wrong. This stuff is incredibly ridiculously.
Oh, it's strong.
Powerful, given what we're actually doing here.
Yes.
But I like it.
There's our bed. Now we have a bed. If it gets annoying, let me know.
Yeah. Okay.
Our first story, first up, explanatory journalism has never been more... No, not that. Dallin just reads a headline. How the U.S. stacks up to other countries in confirmed coronavirus cases.
So we haven't shown the chart in a while, and mostly because it isn't changing a lot. But we haven't. Let's go ahead. This is a different chart, same type of chart.
All right.
You'll see it there pretty quick. That looks pretty familiar, right?
Yes, it does have data points. And we're
still
winning on this chart.
We're still winning. Not only that, but look, that million case line, finally, not only did he get filled in on the graph, but we hit it today, as it turns out. We had 1 million cases. Good job, everyone. High fives all around.
It looks like that's our limit. We can't go any higher. We're tapping
it is
out.
Curving out, but man, it's like the next line above that's going to be 2 million, and you really don't want to hit that. Although there's indication that we might have. So they've been doing some antibody tests recently, and we talked about this a little bit last week. There was one done in it was Santa Clara County in California. There was one done in Manhattan area. Those two weren't randomized. They were basically like, does anybody want an antibody test? And of course, everybody who thought they had it showed up.
Yep.
What was interesting is that they finally did a randomized test down in Miami of all places. Who would have thought Miami would have had their crap together? Because I mean, Florida. But it turns out so they did a randomized test, and it actually sort of backed up the other evidence that they're getting, which is either the antibody tests don't work that well, and that's entirely possible, by the way. There was a great article on Vox with Bill Gates, who they did a podcast with him on Friday, and there's a really good transcript. I recommend you read it. One of the things he said is that there's a ton of false positives and that they overwhelm the data at this level. But it indicates that the number of actual cases out in the wild are somewhere between 8 and 15 times higher. And in particular, in New York, it's 25x higher. Like they think 25% of Manhattan has had the virus at this point based on the data they've got.
Well, and what's your thought on that? Would they have shut things down if they would have known the death percentage was going to end up around this rate? I mean, if you in the end you look at it and you say, well, all these people are actually infected, and here's our death rate, it's actually not that high.
Right. The idea was to keep them from dying all at the same time was the main thing.
It was.
Throughput.
It definitely was. I guess where I get frustrated is with the argument of people like who want to go working. You have the ones who want to go working, and then you have the people who are like, well, just because you don't want to declare bankruptcy with your company, you want people to die.
Yeah,
and
right. Which is not the same thing.
It's those two extreme things I don't like. So,
well, and to give you a good example too, it's like, yeah, I want to reopen, but we can't. I mean, but I want to.
Right.
Like I totally get it. That's where we're at. Give you an idea too of how the death rates worked out. When we finally shut everything down, the death rate was doubling every 3 to 4 days, which means that if they'd waited another week, the death toll is probably going to settle out around. I mean, I'm spitballing here. We're still having 2,000 people a day die. Not as many people in New York, lots more people outside of New York. I'm going to eyeball and say 75,000 to 100,000, which is about 2.5 to 3 times what the normal flu season is in the space of like 6 weeks. What would have happened if we had waited another week was you could quadruple that. What also sucks is they started a week before, you'd be able to cut that in half. So it's like, well, it just kind of sucks.
Yeah,
and in fact, I have an article about the comparison between Sweden and Denmark coming up here pretty soon, because as we know, Sweden decided to just roll the dice and see what happened. But
I have new transitions today, and that wasn't quite the transition. The growth of COVID-19 testing. So talking about testing on this.
Yeah,
story.
So this matters too. There's a little chart on this one. You hit it pretty quick there. So remember we were talking early on about how California had a big backlog of tests. Well, apparently they all just showed up last week, which, okay, that's nice. I hope they did a good job with those because, as opposed to what I would have done when I get behind on 100,000 tests, I just kind of ram them through and just see what happens, But
well, in that case, they should have stuck it at the date the sample was taken.
Yeah.
Versus, I mean, that should be the date, not the date you turned it in.
Yeah. Well, the problem was they didn't expect that these guys would be 3 to 6 weeks late. So they didn't know that beforehand. You're right. Now that we know that would have been the way to go. Anyway, the reason this matters though is because we actually need a lot more testing than this. But because of the testing, you get these weird little bumps. Scroll down to the next graph real quick.
Yeah.
So do you see that next graph right there that's got the bad curve that looks like it's going the wrong direction?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's Wisconsin. Now, the reason why this is interesting is that little graph there, that section of the graph that is yellow, The left bar on the yellow is when the primary elections were held. They made everybody go vote. And then the right bar is the 5-day incubation period, and the red line is cases. Now, you could draw from that conclusion that, oh man, I mean, and people have been infected. I think they're up to 75 people that they can pretty clearly track back to the election. I don't know how, but they can. But here's the problem. See that other
only
line?
left my house to vote. What's the other one?
I mean, pretty much sucks. But that other line is tests per day. And here's your problem with that is that, well, when the testing goes up like that, the number of people who become COVID positive also goes up. So the question is, what the hell are we looking at here? And the answer is, don't really know. But I thought you guys would like that. To see how complicated this crap is.
Like I mean, it's a very interesting time. If you were in college and you were in infectious diseases or even statistics, what an interesting time to try to pull all this data together.
Yeah, because you've got a freaking job, man, like right now.
You absolutely do. And I would read that book. If there was a book about COVID statistics and historical, how it all went through and an explanation of that to me sounds like a very interesting book.
Yeah. By the way, Dal, you're getting accused of not being a regular Farker because of your ads are too lame. They are.
Definitely. All right, Lithuanian capital to be turned into vast open-air cafe. This seems to be something people are doing or considering.
Yeah. I like this a lot, actually. In fact, I posted on Twitter today because I do that because I don't figure nobody gives a crap what my opinion is on Fark, so I keep it quiet on there. But I basically posted this up it's like Manhattan's got an opportunity here as well. They have kind of the same problem. It turns out that Vilnius is it's a dense European capital, and I don't know if you've been to New York, but for people who haven't, every restaurant you can cram like 50 people into a 10 by 10 foot space. Mm-hmm. Which is going to be off the menu literally probably until we get a vaccine and maybe past that. So Vilnius has got the same problem, but good news, it's coming up on summer. So they've decided to shut down a bunch of streets and just let people expand right out into the street. And that's the way that they can do their social spacing and keep restaurants alive.
Well, can you imagine an area like Hell's Kitchen if that road out there was closed off and you had all those restaurants, just the ability to do that? I mean, it's kind of like when they have a festival and they shut the road down, which is awesome. And it actually is such a delightful thing. People love it. It's like, okay, I'm cool with getting rid of cars.
There's another option in there too they could do. It was Brazil came up with it. And I think they did it it was either Rio or Sao Paulo. Can't remember which one it is. But the concept is called super block, where basically you take because for every city that's built on a grid like that, which New York certainly is, you take a 3x3 segment of blocks, and then you basically close all the streets inside that. And you allow deliveries. But you let cars go around the outside of that. And then in the middle, all the restaurants roll out into the street. Jeez. All of the streets are for people to be able to stand around. And if you need to drive down it to deliver, you still can, but pedestrians have the right of way. And I think it's kind of a neat idea.
Well, and when you get into that situation, you actually feel it. It's like, it feels awesome. It feels like, oh yeah, I do want to spend money. Salt Lake City did an interesting thing, a similar thing. They closed off a block like that in the downtown area, and it definitely made it feel more like a park situation. So very cool. I like that idea. I hope it catches on with what they're doing.
Going to need it for social distancing because Manhattan doesn't really have another option.
Sweden and Denmark took very different approaches. So we talked about this earlier on, didn't we? About while it was happening. So what are the results?
Yeah, while it was ramping up, we were trying to figure out like who was gonna stay the course the longest on this doing nothing thing.
Yeah.
And right now, I think Brazil technically is still doing nothing, but everybody other than the president has kind of taken over that job for them.
Right.
So they're kind of, and the other one I think was Belarus, so their president doesn't believe it exists at all. But they're holding GoFundMes in order to finance their
I did see Brazil is showing up as like there is the talk about rising up their situation.
So Sweden's trying to do the herd immunity approach, which is just basically just freaking go for it and see how it goes. And the problem that they're having is that it's looking like, so here's an interesting thing. So what is not being portrayed in the media accurately, in my opinion, is they're trying to say that Sweden did nothing. And then in fact, and I think this article might have the little data thing. Where the hell
they do have data down here, total confirmed cases per million.
Yeah, this article doesn't know what they did, but they didn't shut down schools. I think that's the big one. Other than that, they implemented social distancing. They made restaurants take out half their seats. They didn't close some stuff. So they're not
That's
just
something.
saying go for it. You know, they did something, but their death rate is way higher than any of their comparable neighbors. That said, you know, it's like depends on how many people you want to shut your economy down for, but it's still a few thousand people. And it's like, well, the thing is that their economy is still collapsing anyway, just because everybody else had to shut down. It's a knock-on effect. Like same reason China is suffering so bad right now. They're wide open. Doesn't matter. Nobody else is buying anything.
You know what though? You know, one thing I heard from Nat recently is they have not gone back. The kids haven't gone back to school.
Yeah.
Just and it's you get that feeling like through the news, like China is just back to regular business in a lot of ways. But when you have your schools that still haven't opened up, there's still a long tail, long issues there. But you're absolutely right about how it's like the supply chain. You throw a kink in it, some other part of the world, and your country's just going to be a part of it no matter what you do.
Yeah, everything just kind of goes to hell. So yeah, and so it's not working out for Sweden as it turns out. I mean, they're still going to escape pretty well out of this thing, but they have a much higher death rate than the comparison is to Denmark, who is like nearby, half the population. Pretty similar. They locked everything down, and they're not having as many people die.
Just a super white. Just a super white.
Yeah, exactly. Just a super white for sure.
All right. In race for a coronavirus vaccine, an Oxford group leaps ahead.
Yeah. So this is really, really interesting, but not exciting. Because like I watch CNN all day. Nobody's talking about this. They're talking about ingesting bleach still for the 5th straight day or whatever.
If I was this dude, I would totally use this as my profile pic from now on. I'm guessing he doesn't have one. He looks, that's a guy he's got stuff going on.
He should be smoking. I mean, where's that cigarette? There ought to be a cigarette in there somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's stunning.
I would use that.
Stunning.
So it turns out Oxford's got a vaccine that has been 100% effective on rhesus monkeys, which is good. It's not humans, but rhesus monkeys can get the coronavirus too. And they tried to give it to them, and it didn't take on any of them, which is pretty cool. And they also tried to replicate this at apparently the National Institute of Health has a Rocky Mountain laboratory in Montana, which is where they did use the vaccine. 28 days later, all 6 are healthy. Great.
28 days. They seriously said 28 days later.
28 days later. Yeah, you know, you got to find your puns where you can get them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so granted, it's like, so it's 6 monkeys. They're not human. Yeah, but that's pretty good. They're getting ready to start with human trials here pretty soon. And I learned something in the Bill Gates article, actually. They called it, it was a name for something. It was some kind of human testing where, and I didn't realize this was a thing because they basically won't allow you to do it, is where you give somebody the vaccine and then you attempt to infect them. We haven't been doing that in any way, shape, or form in decades. But apparently that might come back on the table.
I'm guessing the payout on that one is really nice. Like if you take that risk on. Does that null and void like your life insurance plan?
Yeah,
something
probably
like
our
that.
Health insurance too.
Yeah,
there's an interesting aside to that too. It turns out during World War II they were still doing this, and my grandfather volunteered for a test to cure hepatitis A.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they injected him with Hep A, and then they tried to find a cure in that order. And I was like, why did you sign up for this? And he said, well, he goes, look, he's like, it's stupid. But you got to understand, at the time, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to cure it. And I was like, oh, it's because you read some scientific articles. It's like, no, I was just 20. And I'm like, okay, well.
Did he get paid?
Well, he was in the military, so no.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's
not extra anyway.
That's where we should be getting our studies from. We need to get some of those privates in there.
Yeah, so that's what they did. So we could experiment on soldiers, maybe. I'm not really recommending that, by the way, because it's not cool. But, once in a while it works.
Not cool. Coronavirus could be tied to a rare but serious illness in children, UK doctors say.
So this is a fascinating sort of sidebar. I've been following up on. Not intentionally, because I pretty much just read what gets submitted to Fark. But what I'm seeing come in is a lot of stuff where basically we just don't know what the coronavirus does to you or how it kills you. I mean, there's the obvious, it makes you die because your lungs explode. But the first coronavirus death in the United States that was a post-mortem autopsy where they went back and tested her. Turns out she died from it on February 6th in California, and it's because her heart exploded. That's what got her. Like literally just went boom. And so there's a lot of people dying from, stuff that's clearly being caused by the coronavirus, but it's weird. Like young people have been stroking out. There's been blood clots. There's all kinds of weird stuff. Here's another one that just popped up. Apparently, this causes some weird cardiac inflammation in kids, and it's a syndrome called, where is it? I've never even heard of this thing. Kawasaki disease, also known as Kawasaki, it's syndrome. And apparently, it involves riding a motorcycle around. No, I just made that up.
It's interesting. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it
overlapping
inflammation
features
in the blood vessels
of toxic shock syndrome and atypical Kawasaki disease. Huh.
So it's super weird, and they're seeing this only present in kids that get the coronavirus. Now, granted, let's clarify, it's not every kid that gets the coronavirus does this, but more than you would think are having this happen to them, at least in the United Kingdom. And it's super weird, but I think it's another clue. And basically what it boils down to is, especially epidemiologists, they've never seen a virus that does anything like this. Like, it's just super weird. There was another article that popped through the queue about a day or two ago, where there's a guy who was operating on a young person who was having blood clot issues. They went in to surgically remove the blood clot, took it out, and as they were taking it out, it started to reassemble itself, like back inside it, like it repaired itself, and they were just like, "What the hell is this?" Again, not every time, just it's a one-off, but the upshot is this is a really weird disease, and we don't know how it functions.
Well, it definitely came from aliens. Then I'm claiming that. I will say this: the coronavirus. I don't know if it's actually true, but all the graphics that they use for it that are on like that cellular level are very scary. They said, we need this sucker to look more scary. Can you add? And they're like, okay, I can add some color here. How about red? Yeah, that'll do it.
It's like if I saw like a giant human-sized one of those come down the street, I would run in terror. There's no doubt. Absolutely. Partially because when I was a kid, Nickelodeon had this special where people were getting attracted by giant, and they weren't actually inflatable balloons, but that's what the prop was. They're supposed to be aliens killing people. I don't remember what the hell the show is, but I'm predisposed to be scared of giant balloons.
Oh, yeah. What was that one? Mars Attacks. No,
it was some before. There was some British thing where the balloon would jump on you and then you'd get covered in slime somehow. And I think it killed you. I don't really remember how it all went. It just scared the crap out of me. Because I was 6.
Like it. And yes, these are new transitions. If I could say it, family dog test positive. No, for COVID-19 in North Carolina.
So the article says, as far as they know, this is the first time. It's not. There was one in Hong Kong also.
Well, how many people are testing their dogs?
Yeah, I don't blame them for not knowing. Unless you're like me and read literally everything, how would you even know? But yeah, so they was tested at Duke University. So the person who wrote the headline was able to work in "Your dog wants steak" and "Duke sucks" into the headline for a double whammy. That was pretty good. Like that, you'll never have that opportunity again. But yeah, so the dog tested positive, and unlike the cats that tested positive that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the cats were symptomatic. The dog was not. Apparently, it was an entire family of people who were already infected, and they're like, I guess like after a couple of beers, somebody said, "Well, why don't we test the dog?" And yeah, dog came down positive for COVID. Well, what that means is they found the virus in its nose, but it's a dog. Dogs
are disgusting.
Sniff everything.
Jeez, yeah, what else was in there?
They tested positive for the cat litter box also.
That would have been I think that would have been a very charming title right there.
Cat cookies, as dogs call them.
Kansas man chug cleaning product after Trump's disinfectant comments.
So I'm kind of surprised it's not Florida man, and I didn't look too hard because this came into the queue. I'm sure some Florida man somewhere chugged the bleach disinfectant. In fact, we did the Fark and Schmidt podcast.
Oh, that's
last
right.
night,
Yeah.
Where we did the deep dive on the dude who probably told Trump drinking bleach was great. He was based out of Jacksonville and is a total loon who thinks that drinking bleach will cure everything.
Well, to his weird credit, he would probably say, well, I meant 1 drop per gallon or one this, but he is definitely claiming it's a miracle cure. And I love those stories. I love them.
I mean, why not cyanide? It's only 1 drop per gallon. I mean, it's going to take years to kill me. It's making me stronger drinking this stuff. Yeah, so this dumbass. And it was funny, too, because all of his friends were talking about how this guy's really smart, but this is what politics does to you. He basically drank some freaking bleach.
Well, it happens.
Kansas man.
It happens. Had an interesting Zoom meeting. There we are. You've got some background. This is basically about plexiglass.
Yeah, so we've been running a little feature on multiple episodes about things you're surprised we sold out of, and I just found today's entry. Plexiglass. We are sold out of plexiglass. And I think I know why, though. I went shopping today and they've erected plexiglass barriers in
Yes.
between everybody who works there and everybody else, like all over the place. And good for them. But guess what? We don't really have a huge supply of plexiglass, apparently.
No,
not enough for everybody to do that anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed it in the stores I've been into. They put it behind the registers and all that. I like it. In fact, I'm like, I like this. If I was a worker there, I love this idea at any time of day. Keeping me away from me. I
feel better for them.
Right.
I'm really glad. But here's the problem. I don't happen to work in an open air office because I've been working at home for the last 20 years. So quarantine's kind of been like normal, except with more kids, and everybody else complaining about the way that I've been working for 20 years because they haven't done it. But here's the problem, and you can see it in the picture, is that if you work in an open office, you're going to have to erect some barriers, lots of them, as it turns out, and there's no plexiglass, so good luck.
Well, it is funny that offices went from an actual office to these open-air giant places, and now it's like this locked-in thing. I don't have the photo here, but one interesting photo I did see Nat was sharing with me was Vegas, for what they're going to do for card tables. Have you seen that?
What are they going to do? Are they going to put like the dealer in a little like Popemobile enclosure?
Yeah, it's
pull that up.
Wild. Let me see. I spelled the wrong. Where's the plexi?
I'm just hoping we can get a vaccine, and then we'll just go back to coughing on each other and it being funny.
It's Vegas be a while, Shield. Maybe. Well, this is horrible if I can't find it. But basically, yeah, it was so you could put your hands underneath it and deal with your cards and do that. But you're in a slot, almost like, have you ever seen where cows go to stick their head through to get feed?
I was thinking more of getting gas in Gary, Indiana at midnight. It's like that, isn't it? It's got that little slot. You got to pass that back and forth. That.
I mean, it looks so pleasant. I can just imagine sitting there and being like, I have a real problem if I'm doing this for fun in this plexiglass.
Yeah.
We've got more stories.
Oh, yeah. We got a ton today.
WWE honors Captain Tom Moore with his own championship belt after raising $29 million. I like that.
So this video is 29 seconds, which means it's either totally suitable for this program or the Independent's just going to run text over top of it. You want to punch play, and we'll just roll the dice.
Yeah, where is that? Is it this one?
It's right at the top.
All right, this is it. If it goes,
I don't know what we're going to get. It might just try to read the article.
That's not it. Everyone gets to see Dallin struggle with.
Oh, you know what happened? It went on. It went on for you. You got bumped here. Let me give you the link again real quick.
Wait, maybe this is it.
Amazing speed and 100.
Amazing speed. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Wow, this is crappy internet.
There it is. It's that one.
Here we are. Here we go.
I like how you're getting ads for the New York Times on the Independent. That's pretty good.
Very nice.
And then whatever the hell kinetic internet is, I don't think that's a thing. How would that work? You just rub two sticks together and internet.
It's not good out here. Oh, they're just video. They just shot video of a billboard?
Oh, good. Okay. Well, so this guy, for the background, is the guy who's 100 years old who decided to, I forget how far was he trying to walk?
Oh, it was his backyard. But
it was his backyard, but he was going like a long way, like a marathon or something. I don't know. Let's just make this up.
Yeah.
He was starting to raise money for the National Health Service. And he ended up raising 29 million pounds, which at the current exchange rate is $29 million. I mean, I made that up.
That's awesome.
Man, you get some weird ads on there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what happened was that aside from being a huge hero and super awesome, this is probably somebody probably had to explain to him what the hell happened when this went down. The WWE gave him his own unique championship belt to celebrate his 100th birthday.
As they should.
I'm sure he's wearing everywhere he goes. Because why not?
You know, it's great. Some companies will have items that they give away as maybe a vendor comes. Maybe they have somebody, a special relationship. Hey, here's a bottle of wine. Here's this. WWE must have a division that all they're doing is making belts for dignitaries, because that would be the coolest thing to give away.
And it's essential services too. So those bastards are sitting in a garage somewhere just waiting for more belt orders.
Did you watch?
Who next? Carl Sagan?
Did you watch any of the WWE that they've done recently?
I have caught a little bit of it. In fact, the thing that I caught the best, and in fact, this is a hell of a setup for nope, it's not the next article. Okay, never mind.
I can jump to it.
The iRacing. I've been watching that.
I've been watching that too. I've been loving it.
That's funny. We have an iRacing article coming up. It's down on the pile here.
We'll do that.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
Okay. Looking forward to it. All right. We've got, hey, put some pants on my guy. Nice.
Yeah, so check this out. We've been making jokes about people not wearing pants during TV interviews. Well, we got video proof that it happens.
He's sitting right, your head is right in his lap. Right in his lap, Drew.
Excellent. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So should I
makes
I'm going to
sense.
go over this way here. Okay. How's that?
That's a bold move. He knows what's going on, right?
I don't know. Here's the thing. It's like if I was going to totally do that on purpose, I'd show more than that. Like that's a screen cap right there.
Yeah,
because the video doesn't show it that much. Like if I was going to do it, I'd like, I don't know, I'd start biting my own knee or something.
I love this shot right here of her. Looks like she's taking a look. Like she's getting a gander.
Like,
that's definitely,
no pants.
maybe.
No pants.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, as far as we know, maybe they're not wearing pants. We can't tell. They're behind a desk.
We don't know. Dr. Anthony Fauci praises Brad Pitt for impersonating him on Saturday Night Live. He did a great job.
This is extra funny. So when I saw that this had actually gone down, I remembered the original source of this. So what happened was at some point during one of the Trump press conferences where the journalists are just bored to death because they're getting no information, somebody asked Fauci who they thought ought to play him if he was ever going to be. I don't think it was necessarily Saturday Night Live, but or if they ever did like a coronavirus 2020 miniseries, and he said Brad Pitt. Well, apparently Brad Pitt heard this, and they got him to do Fauci on Saturday Night Live the other night, which was actually super excellent. Although I think it's like 5 minutes long. I don't know if we want to play.
You know what's definitely go check it out. It's what you'd expect.
Yeah.
I was actually impressed with Fauci saying that Pitt pulled it off. I think he did a really good look at it. He did a really good look for him. Had some funny things to say, and then he finishes off by taking off his gear at the end and saying thank you. Seriously, like a thank you. So
directly to him too, which that would have been awesome if I was Fauci, man. That would have been super cool.
Yeah.
CNN was showing a split screen this morning before my hangover wore off, and I wasn't paying attention because I keep it muted because it drives me crazy. But they had a split screen of Fauci on the left and they had Pitt on the right, and they had like you could tell Pitt studied. Like he was doing like there's this certain hand thing that Fauci does, and he was copying it. I mean, he did it. He nailed it. It was really good.
There's his hair pulled off. So. Thank you, Mr. Brad Pitt, for your service.
Nice job.
Kim parade prep. North Korea satellite images spark speculation. Plans for a massive funeral parade for Kim Jong-un are underway. So I'm glad you pulled this story.
For today's entry of where in the world is Kim Jong-un? I mean, he's probably in North Korea. Or is he dead or alive is what we don't know. This was awesome because somebody submitted this overnight, and our overnight admin who lives in Germany, that's how we keep from having to have people stay up all damn night. I learned that in business school, actually. It's like have somebody in a different time zone handle it. So one of our submitters, as it turns out, lives in Berlin. I was like, hey, dude, you want to run the queue between midnight and 6? He's like, sure. So he found this one. Somebody submitted it overnight. We don't know if he's alive or dead, but North Korea appears to be building parade paraphernalia, just in case he happens to be dead, because there's not any other parades coming up. So that might be a big clue. I don't know whether or not it's actually true or not, though, because nobody literally knows anything about this. If you want to hear a lot more about this, check out the podcast because we hit this as one of our big stories. But you know what? We were talking about this before we started this stream. Right before I was putting all the stories together, what I think the most plausible explanation of what's really going on came through in the queue, and that's the next article.
All right. Ooh, look at you. Look at you doing your... South Korean official says Kim Jong-un may be avoiding public due to coronavirus. He's social distancing.
Yeah. And what I do like about this article is that's a photo of Mike Pence not wearing a mask in a hospital in front of a bunch of doctors who are treating a patient who actively has coronavirus. You can't see that guy. Go check that story out if you want to see something stupid. He better hope his Jesus shield holds up because, man, he's been infected 6 ways to Sunday now. I don't see how that's going to work out. But screw that picture for a second. That actually kind of makes sense if he's alive, that is. I mean, he may not be alive, but if he is, it might not be a bad idea to go to ground. And, he's a 36-year-old fat dude who just had surgery. Those are a lot of pre-existing conditions. I maybe hide out. So that's possibly the only explanation that I would say holds water. What do you think? Because I know you're a North Korean expert.
Aficionado is had a podcast once upon a time. It's still out there, but it's super awesome, North Korea. And whenever there is news on North Korea, you have to be kind of skeptical. If you look at the stories, usually there's nothing cited. Not even the rumor is cited as something. That overhead view is really tough to read as far as like, I guess maybe. I don't know.
They're having a parade at some point soon.
The thing is on an average day, it's easy to say that Kim Jong-un is dead. So you throw this in and then he just doesn't show up for a bit. And it's quite possible. Then you have stories about China shipping 50 doctors to North Korea. I guess it's all possible. I just wouldn't believe it until I see it. But I will say this. I, for one, am looking forward to the funeral because Kim Jong-il's funeral, if you want to go back for, this is, if I die, that's what I want. I want people weeping and wailing and gnashing their teeth in the streets. Like, putting on the greatest show on earth when I die. That's how they do it. And if Un dies, it will be must-watch TV.
This is not a slam on you because I think the same applies to myself. But I think the only way that if I die, anybody's going to be wailing and gnashing their teeth and shredding their clothes in the middle of the street is under threat of death. Which I think that's it. You know, it's like otherwise, I mean, people might be really upset that I'm not around anymore. I would hope somebody is, but I don't know that they're going to get that upset unless somebody's threatening to kill them.
Yeah.
So that
awesome.
is, they do have that going for it.
Awesome to be a dictator.
By the way, when did Kim Jong-il die? I figure you probably know at least what year, right?
Actually, it was a while back. I can't remember the year, but it was.
I mean, we could totally Google this.
We could, but that would take work. How about you guys there? How about the guys in the Twitch? There's a guess at 2009, 2011. I'm
going 2016.
Here's the tough thing also with North Korea is you can't go by how it looks. Like if I saw a video from when Reagan was around, I'd be like, well, that kind of looks like Reagan, maybe Jimmy Carter times. Period. North Korea has been the same. The styles have not changed or anything. It's like it's frozen in time. Yeah. Looks like 2011 is what 2011. People, okay. Yeah, I think so. Cool. That sounds about right.
We don't know. Well, the other guy died too because his dad had what was his name again?
Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong. Oh, why am I blanking on this?
And then the other guy.
And the greatest smile. Actually, Un looks a lot like him. Kim Il-sung.
Oh, okay, there we go.
So Kim Il-sung was the first one. He started off, and that's why people really like Un is because, and you look at them and their smile, it's like, yeah, they're not too far apart from each other.
Well, and what sucks is that smile is because he's been launching people out of artillery pieces all day long, and that's what gets him off.
Well, I felt like Un was actually a good thing for North Korea. I think he opened up things. I think he was a little calmer. At least my opinion, but I'm kind of a fan of. Cool. I would definitely. I tried to go visit there, but another story. Pentagon formally releases 3 Navy videos showing unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah, so these videos are terrible. Like apparently, even when the U.S. Navy is filming UFOs, all they get is like black blurry stuff. Granted, this was a long time ago, but somebody's pointing out they're like, well, why the hell does the phone in my pocket take better video than what the Navy's got? And in fact, I don't know if you've watched any of those Iraq war videos, but same problem. It's like, these are like, the satellite telemetry for, guided missiles being fired from thousands of miles away. And I can't tell what the hell I'm looking at. Even when it's not a UFO.
I think you end up in the same problem is like this transmission of heavy data. It's not like you're going to be able to stream 4K from a missile moving that far. It's a challenge. But then again, who knows what we really see. So we've got a video here.
I think so. It's not the best quality. None of them are. I think the one that they've got queued up is probably the best. Yeah. What's interesting, what I learned from this video is fascinating. Apparently, part of the reason that the United States government doesn't like to continually release videos of this stuff, or as they say, but I think this is correct. That occasionally if you notice in the background of this, there's a lot of instruments and readings and stuff like that, and it gives away capabilities that our fighter aircraft have. If they leave that stuff in, I guess they could edit it out or whatever, but apparently this stuff is from like F-15 or F-16s, and those are so old they made Transformers out of them. So I don't think we have to worry about it. This one's really weird though, man, because like that's way too stationary.
Plus, it's reading heat, right?
I don't know what. So I don't know what we're looking at. They did it as a Navy apparently. It says -2 degrees. What Celsius, Fahrenheit, actual direction.
Now he's looking at over the water.
Yeah, so this one they were chasing and went underwater for a little while, and then it came back up again.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell what scale is here.
Yeah, you can tell what the Navy pilots think they're looking at based on their reactions, though. Yeah, and it's definitely a street light for everybody on Farkas. It's a street light. Of course it is. It has to be.
And then this is the other one right here. Yeah, it's so tough but what they're saying is, yeah, we think it is. We think this thing. We don't know. I don't know. Why are they releasing it?
They don't know what it is.
Why are they releasing it?
I don't know. Like this one right here, again, it's like, okay, that's just a blur.
Right.
Like,
you could say anything. You know what I did think would have been awesome? This would be the perfect time to stick the gentleman of great girth who on all the memes for COVID. You know?
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
That guy, that you do that video and all of a sudden it clears up, the resolution clears, and there's the dude
that guy.
there.
Yeah, it's that dude with the enormous wang, yeah.
That's how you say it. That's how you say it.
I got a friend of mine who uses him as a Zoom background, by the way. It is not cool.
That's a good idea.
She thinks it's hilarious, but I'm like,
I like that idea.
Yeah, no thanks. Well, because your head goes right where, blocks out the rest of it.
The New England vampire panic was very real and very deadly. Oh, yeah. I'm sure I know. I haven't read the story, but I'm assuming it was deadly for whoever you accused of being a vampire.
Correct. You nailed it. And also, by the way, New England vampire panic is either a really good name for a mid 2015 drama with a bunch of hot chicks on it, or some kind of a goth punk band. And I think it's available. I didn't look, but anyway. So apparently before they knew what caused tuberculosis, they're sitting around trying to figure out. It's like, well, we don't know about germ transmission, so what could it be? I don't know. How about vampires? Because it actually, the way people die, they used to call it consumption, is you would just start losing weight, and eventually you would die really skinny. And they were like, well, maybe it's vampires. And so just to be sure, they would start digging up people to check it out. And part of the problem is that the way they would determine if you were a vampire or not, they didn't kill any live people, according to this article, but I bet somebody died. They would go and they would dig up corpses and check them out. And if they had, dissolved, like I assume happens on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, then that's not a vampire. But occasionally they dig one up and it would be like, oh, check this out. Like that one still looks kind of fresh. And not only that, but apparently corpses after a couple of weeks, they have this thing happen where it looks like the fingernails grow and your hair grows. And so they're like, okay, this one's still alive. So apparently up in New England, they spent a ton of time for about 100 years digging people up and staking them, just in case.
Well, that's so much. A
lot of work.
Do you think that 1,000 years from now, people would look at us and laugh at our response to
because they're gonna be like, those assholes were drinking bleach. Check that out. Yeah, they're gonna laugh. I'm laughing right now, and it's only been like a week.
Fark in 3020.
Yeah, totally. We're like, yeah. Oh man, I tell you what, man, we get 10 years beyond this point, it's gonna be a real head scratcher.
Yeah,
here's an interesting little sidebar though. So tuberculosis used to come around mostly in the summer, and it would plague most major cities in Europe and the United States. And if you live on the East Coast or in Europe, you know that in August, everybody gets the hell out of town. Turns out that's been going back to tuberculosis outbreaks.
Really? Ooh, I didn't know that.
People would clear town in August to get away from the plague.
That is a cool tip.
Yeah. So that's like if you want to go to France or Germany, it's like August, man. Nobody's around. And DC and New York, nobody's doing anything there either. It's kind of cool. And that's why.
Well, we used to have hospitals. I went around an abandoned tuberculosis hospital in Gooding, Idaho back in the day in high school.
Oh, yeah, there's some in Louisville, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, you had this going on. It was so strong that specific hospitals were built for it. Is that your bag of blood?
I'm going to pour wine out of a bag on top of my laptop. What could possibly go wrong?
This is very fitting for the New England vampire panic.
So far, so good.
Man.
All right, haven't spilled anything yet. Laptop's still functional. All right, there we go. Man, we're good.
Question: do they sell everything out of a bladder now? I mean, can you get bourbon in a bladder?
You know what's interesting? I bought. It was Korean or it was Thai? Kewpie mayo. You ever heard of this?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, and I forgot why. Some recipe I had called for it, and we've been doing a lot of shopping at the little the DY market.
Oh yeah,
near where you live.
Yeah,
because they got pretty much everything. I mean, and so I've been experimenting making Chinese restaurant food at home, and it came in a bladder, and I realized the reason why was because it's airtight. So when you squeeze that mayo out, because it's mostly eggs, squeeze the mayo out, no air in there, can't spoil. I'm like, well, this is actually kind of damn brilliant. So I think everything should come in a bladder.
Done. We could call it Bladders R Us, Bladder Store, Bladder 2000,
Yeah.
bed, bath, and bladder.
Perfect. That's it. That's it.
That's the winner.
That's the one. And we're done. We got it.
All right. How NFL is set if needed to shake up its schedule. I'm telling you, football's going to bring us back. Football's going to do it.
I'm not going to go too deep into this one, except to say that there's one piece of it, and the person who submitted this to Fark nailed it. It was the most interesting part of the entire article. So the less interesting parts is that they can start the season as late as October 15th and still make this work, but it means the Super Bowl is going to have to get bumped. Do you know what the week after the Super Bowl? So the Super Bowl is scheduled on February 7th, and the reason I know that, my birthday. You know what the week after is? Valentine's Day, obviously, right? But you know what happens? So I'll give you a hint. It's on a Sunday. You know what February 15th is this year?
No, I don't.
President's Day. 3-day weekend.
Oh.
We might have the Super Bowl on a 3-day weekend. Granted, it's going to collide with Valentine's Day, so there's going to be a lot of divorces, except for couples that both like football. But, man, can you imagine having the Super Bowl on a 3-day weekend? Oh, my God.
Well, that would be awesome. It would be a reason to go. If you, that's one thing I've always wanted to go to, the Super Bowl. Not necessarily to sit in the stands, although that would be cool if I wasn't paying for the ticket, but to just be in the city and feel that energy of it going on. I would like to do that. So that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Brady already has remarkable Florida man tan and welcome message to Tampa Bay Bucks fans.
So scroll down a little bit to that.
I don't know if that's
Brady there.
Is that a?
Well, here's what's interesting about this. So Floridians are making fun of him for looking like this. Now, the reason why they're making fun of him is he's clearly been outside too much, and he's not wearing sunblock. And Floridians know, like, they're dumb about a lot of stuff, but they don't screw around with that. There's no Floridian in the world that's gonna be like, I ain't wearing sunblock this year. And apparently, other than Tom Brady, because he's been doing it.
He's got. This has to be so much nicer for him and his family. They're like, best move ever.
I'm so happy to be in Tampa Bay, and I wanted to say thank you guys for welcoming me and my family into your community with open arms. Outside.
And thanks for not killing me and walking to other people's houses.
I'm so excited to be a Buck.
Yep.
So we have an incredibly exciting season ahead. I can't wait until we can get together as a team, start our practices, and start working hard to improve. There's a lot of work to be put in between now and the start of the season, but I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at Raymond James in a couple short
Let's
months.
buy
I promise
tickets.
you that. So stay safe, everyone.
For the love of God.
Let's go Bucks.
They spent a lot of money on me. You gotta do this.
Yeah, you have to, because they can't afford what they're paying me.
Oh my gosh! You know what's funny is we're gonna see Bucks games on TV again.
I know.
When was it? It's like weird. It was like, I think Warren Sapp was it was. Sheesh.
True story, by the way. So we had a Tampa Bay Fark party in February of 2003.
Yeah.
And we scheduled it weeks in advance, but we didn't know they were going to have the Super Bowl the same goddamn weekend, because we figured Tampa's not getting into the Super Bowl. That's ridiculous. So we ended up going. And not only that, but that's the Fark party in 2003. We're all standing around and Macho Man Randy Savage comes walking up.
No.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And he walks up and he goes, "Is this the Fark party? Are you Drew Curtis?"
No.
I love Fark, man. I'm like, are you? Yeah, it's like, okay, no way. No, yeah, Savage was a Farker.
Well, did I hear right that he lived in Lexington for a while?
He did. He was an amateur baseball player, but that doesn't make any sense because when he lived here, we didn't have a team. So I don't know how that actually worked.
But at some point.
Yeah, well, we ended up hanging out for a bit because I'm like, well, I'm taking advantage of this. And yeah, he said he lived in Lexington for like 3 or 4 years back in the mid 80s.
Oh my goodness.
Before he did wrestling. Yeah.
See, you always blow my mind. Now, I did hear Miss, what's her name? Elizabeth, his girlfriend. I think she lived in Lexington, too, at some point.
Yeah, I think they were dating at the same time. And I don't know if they met there or not, but yeah, they totally were.
Wow. How crazy was that? How did he talk? Was it like he was cracking a Slim Jim when he said Fark? What was it like?
He sounded exactly the same. The other thing that's weird is he's my height.
Oh, so really?
He's 5'10".
Oh, my gosh.
He sounded exactly the same, but when he's not doing anything, he was a goofball. So imagine like Randy Savage's really intense voice, but saying stuff that sounded like the Big Lebowski. Like that was kind of
wow. Yeah. My mind would be blown. I'd be like, "This is happening,
yeah.
Macho Man." So did you get a photo with him?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do actually. I've got a photo. I'll have to send it over here. Somebody said the Tampa Fark Party 2004 was in the fall. Yeah, this was 2003, and the reason I know this is because my wife was pregnant and was just starting to show. That was the first day I noticed.
Really?
And we were there the night of the Super Bowl. So, of course, they're like, well, Tampa's in the Super Bowl. Let's watch it. And then they won. And I was like, okay, we need to get back to the hotel right now because it's going to get really congested out here on the road. Yeah, like everybody in Tampa just like jumped in their car and drove downtown and shot off fireworks and guns and explosives.
Oh my gosh! Well, you've blown my mind. That's an incredible story. Can't wait to see the photo.
I'll see if I can dig up the photo. Actually, it's pretty fun.
Awesome. I clicked on the wrong.
Actually,
thing.
it's on my Facebook page. If you go check that out.
Check out Drew on Facebook. NASCAR drivers race guy short over daughter's mistake. I was watching this at this time.
I was watching this too, as it turns out, mostly because, and we went over this before, but I'll repeat it. It turns out, Don, I'm going to text you the photo, by the way. Here.
Oh, awesome. I'll put that up.
I'm going to repeat this. So it turns out that, how like people have been asking me as an extrovert, how are you doing during the lockdown? And I'm like, well, it kind of sucks, but I get used to my situation. And I said this early on. I was like, my thing is I can't wait till all of these people that I know are not introverts figure it out, because they're going to be like, oh my God. And so this would include Meg, who's the head of our the development stuff on Fark, and Mike, who runs the servers. Both of them are like, yeah, okay, we've had enough of this. And so in the same way that introverts have discovered that they are extroverts, I have discovered that I really miss sports a lot. Like I didn't care that much when they were around, but now I'm like, damn it, need me some sports. So anyway, did you get that photo, Dallin?
I did. So look how awesome that is. My goodness, how you're like 12 there.
Yeah, I know. I was exactly 12 years old. Well, that was like that was 2003, so that's 18 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
the guy
insane.
on the left is a major radio DJ in Tampa. Like Todd would know who he is. I've totally forgotten.
Yeah. Oh, how fun would that have been?
That was the time Macho Man showed up at a Fark party, looking for us. Like not even as a bet. Like he's like, I love Fark. It's great. Isn't it crazy?
Oh, that's so crazy. Looks awesome.
I still have that shirt too.
Yeah, you definitely need to print that out and put it on your bedside. That would be awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, but, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm definitely with and just the NASCAR, just to say, if you haven't watched, it is fun. It's fun to hear them talking back and forth. And there is still the feeling of competition going on. It's like the best translation of a sport to the screen.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon was saying it, because that was my big question. Was I was like, so how close is this to the actual racing thing? Jeff Gordon says is that the cars are a little more loosey-goosey, like not much. But he said other than that, the experience is almost identical, other than there's no G-forces or wind, and you're not dying in a crash. And in fact, they had a massive crash.
He had an awesome crash.
Like third of the way in, where Jeff Gordon's car got like shot up like 7 stories, and it got stuck in the upper barbed wire of the fence. Granted, this is all simulated. And the best part is they're all laughing their asses off. They're like, oh my God, what the hell's going on?
No, they're having the best time. In fact, I saw one of the comments that people were making is like, this would be awesome if they continue to do this circuit and bring back like these retired drivers and all these personalities, because it's like, I love seeing these guys jaw each other. It's fun.
Well, and they have a lot of fun. And the other cool thing too is that I don't understand what this means, because I don't know the platform they're using, but everybody gets, here's my guess as to what it means, is where I'm going with this. Everybody gets one reset. So for example, Jeff Gordon's car stuck in barbed wire 7 stories up after a 20-car crash, punches the reset button, he's back in the race because he's got one reset.
Yep.
And in fact, he was saying, I forget what driver he was saying, but one of his friends wants to install a reset button in the cockpit of his actual car, wants to get back to racing so he can feel like he can hit that. Which I thought was super awesome.
It's awesome. So they're staying sharp. They're keeping their skills going.
It's worth checking out. But anyway, this is the best part of this is that, so during the race, I'm going to tell you what happens, because you'll see it on the video, but you won't get what's about to happen. It's more fun to know what happened. So one of their NASCAR drivers, Denny Hamlin, who I've never heard of before, but probably is very famous. Of course, these guys have these rigs in their houses, right? So like their wives are hanging out near them, or their kids in this case. And what happened is that right towards the end of the race, Denny Hamlin winked off of the race. He disappeared. And then he showed back up again. And they're like, what happened? And his daughter shut his TV off with the remote by accident. And it turns out that his wife, I'm assuming, got it on video, and check it out. This is the video.
Yeah. And another thing is funny is like, this is totally humanized people. You're like, oh, this is a guy who has kids who interrupt them. It happens.
Let's play. a common middle something. I'm raising.
Can we go downstairs and play go-karts? And she
Yeah.
flips the screen off. Oh, it was fun.
Yeah,
Good
whoops.
times.
Wasn't on purpose. Look at those. She knew it. She was like, "Oh crap."
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah.
trouble. Now keep it going too, because he talks about this after this
Oh, he does. Okay.
weird ass thing where they read it to us.
All right.
Yeah, we have to. I don't know why. There you go. But he comes back to an interview where he talks about it. It's hilarious.
Pissed off. But they're just kids. My
Yeah.
daughter came in
So
What are you gonna
true.
do?
and essentially ended our day. That's something you just don't hear every day, folks.
Isn't that awesome?
It is one of the positive
Yeah.
stories that come out of that. It's been
It's
very
great.
positive. They've done a great job. Great
Oh,
job.
man.
So it's usually on Fox or FS1 if you want to catch that.
Yeah, I threw it up the other day, and oh man, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
You should, like, check it
Wasn't
out.
that long of an investment? It was like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, it's like a shortened race or something. And honestly, it's like, again, you know, like I was just screwing around playing video games while it was on. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Speedy Gonzalez accused of stealing checks from Metro Atlanta mailboxes.
So the Fark headline for this is that Warner Brothers layoffs have cut way too deep. And that's true. So I read this article, and by the way, Fark submitters have gotten really clever at constructing their headlines so that I don't know what the hell the article's about. So I got to click on it before I post it.
That's what
Which
you
is-
want.
Which is working out. It's just like slowing my day down. I'm not complaining. Because I like this joke construct a lot better, where you click on it and you're like, oh, so
Right.
here's your O part. This guy's legal name is Speedy Gonzalez.
Why would you do that?
His parents are assholes.
Yeah, you know, maybe that's a problem if your last name is Gonzalez. That's
Yeah.
like continually the joke. Somebody's gonna do it. Maybe, and there's probably not. There's probably more than one out there. I'm guessing.
Yeah, they
so,
made it his legal name. So his parents were dicks.
So just walking around taking mailboxes.
Yeah, as you do. You know, he's got the name for it, I guess.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Interesting.
So there you go. I just figured I think I had to throw one super weird one in there for that. There you go. All right, and now what everybody's been waiting for, Farkers have already been posting this in the thread because it's pretty easy to Google sheep jumping on trampolines. But here you go.
Oh my
I love the
gosh.
kid. Kid's like, do it again. Sheep's like, okay,
Just pure happiness there.
sure. The best part is although the sheep isn't making those noises, you know the sheep is making those noises in its
Oh,
own head.
and it's
The sheep
hard.
is like,
It
"Ah,
is
woo."
so happy.
Yeah.
Universal. Who wouldn't
Yeah.
enjoy a trampoline?
Yeah, seriously. I didn't know sheep would like it so much. That sheep, it doesn't say how long the sheep stayed there. I mean,
Right.
it could have been, for hours. We don't know.
I'd also love a video of a sheep like totally breaking its leg as it falls off. A sheep doing all the things that normal people do on trampolines,
Yeah, there you go. Including breaking your leg. Yeah.
including doing that.
So our final video, this came through Fark yesterday, and I saw it's already been blown up. So some of you may have seen this, but if you haven't, you got to watch this. Go down to the YouTube link and punch it. It's about 2 minutes long, but it's really cool. It's a toddler doing a Rage Against the Machine cover.
All right, here we go. Oh wait, have I seen her?
Somebody needs to remix this with the actual background.
Someone threw in the forces. Wanna sing one of crosses.
Oh, that is the cutest voice ever.
It's so good.
Wanna sing one of crosses. Ah!
She's waiting for that one.
Here name on. Gonna do it, told ya. Gonna do it, told ya.
Dad's breaking up. That's a cool dad. That's a dad I want to hang out with.
He's good.
She's getting bored.
Yeah. Well, she wants to scream. She's like, can we just get to... There it is.
So probably definitely doing better than I would.
told ya. Gonna do it, told ya. Gonna do it, told ya. Gonna do it, told ya. Doing a fire across the fire. None of the bad, you can show the white. Go the fire across the fire.
You know what? If you played her voice, I'd love to have her voice without the song behind it. Because if you put creepy music behind her, it would be terrifying.
Someone needs to remix it and put the original like music track and then her voice on it. Like that would be the best.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's a cool dad. That's somebody I could hang out with.
That killed me. I'm starting to cry again because they're laughing so hard. Oh my god.
And that's the news for
that went a while today.
Tuesday, March 28th. We're almost heading into April. It's almost over. This crap hole of a month is almost over.
May's almost over. You forgot a month. Sorry, we're almost into May.
Almost into May. Yeah, when is it? And it's okay. It's April. It is April. So today, Nat and I were getting stir crazy. It's our anniversary on Friday.
Oh, congrats!
Her birthday, then my birthday. It's just a bunch of things. I was like, what? Could we just get away to this lake house we've been to in the past? I'm like, nobody's around there. We'll just drive straight there and do it. Then Evie buzzkilled us and said the governor said we can't travel.
Boo!
It's like
stupid kids
didn't want us going to. And then Evie is not a lawbreaker. Evie's like, she sent me the article. She's like, no, Dad, you can't go. You can't go. I'm like, great.
Damn it.
Maybe I'll just put a tent up in my backyard. Be happy with
that. If you want, I got a tent I can loan you.
I do have a tent.
Okay, cool, good.
As I mentioned it, I was like, I should throw that sucker up. Shoot tents in the backyard.
Yeah, totally. That's what you had to do. Because, I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, literally.
Why not?
That is all you can do.
We did a fire pit last night. Beautiful night. Great night.
Yeah.
Fantastic night.
Nice. It's actually pretty nice outside today, other than, our 20-mile-an-hour winds kind of ruined it. I was going to go on a long bike ride, but never mind.
You would have been blasted at all the times you didn't want to get blasted.
Oh man, that's like it's all the time.
Yeah. So it's we've got. I mean, who knows what the week's going to look like? I love the mix of news. I like seeing other things rather than totally COVID. Looks like some of my stores that are out in Utah are going to be opening up possibly May 5th. So,
if they do it right, and I think that there's a lot of places been getting some bad rap for this. Like depending on the articles you read about the beaches opening up in Southern California, you either were like, oh my God, I'm horrified, or wow, they're totally doing it right. They kind of are. I mean, as much as you can anyway. Everybody was like 10 to 15 feet apart.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to the beach, but good for them. They seem to be doing it all right.
Right. If the whole idea is staying out of contact with people, minimizing it. And that's the thing about before all this happened, there was nothing. I was 300 miles away from wearing a mask somewhere. I wore a mask to go drop off the car at to get fixed today.
And that's something interesting that changed recently, because I think it was Sunday or Monday, because I've lost track of time like everyone else. The governor of Kentucky said he wants everybody to be wearing a mask by May 11th. And by the way, this is an interesting sort of thing that I've been talking to friends that live in other states, and everybody's like, okay, what happens if you don't? Well, nothing. Like, including the shelter at home thing. It's like, no, they haven't built any crimes around it, but man, like the social stigma you get for not wearing a mask. It's like I went to the grocery a week ago, didn't wear a mask because I'm like, yeah, whatever, and it was fine back then. But the minute he said, okay, this is on, so today it was only like 5 people in the entire grocery store didn't have a mask on,
right?
And it was so funny too, because like I was wondering if people were judging me last week when I went for not wearing a mask.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
They totally were, because I was judging the hell out of them. I was like, you bastard. How dare you not wear a mask, even though I didn't last week? What's wrong with you? Oh, my God, I can't believe it. And it's funny because, like, we don't need to have criminal penalties. It's its own consequence.
Oh, dang. I should have pulled out. I saw a video of a guy walking into the grocery store, and he had on his red mask, black gentleman. He's like, "Sup, blood?" to this woman who had the same red kerchief on. Whitest woman you've ever seen. Awesome. And she was like my mom would have been. Like, she's just like, oh, this person must know me. Oh, yes? Hey. And it was hilarious. He was just like awesome. like your kerchief. Sup, blood? Awesome. He flashed her signs.
Nice. Speaking of which, if you've got, I don't know how to find this, but you can Google it. there's a couple of videos on how to make masks out of old T-shirts. The reason that matters is because if you have an old T-shirt with a logo on it, like I've got an old Green Lantern T-shirt I'm going to go try to find, because that wouldn't be a bad one for a mask to have like a big Green Lantern symbol on the front. So, you know.
If you can get it, in fact, somebody said in here, the NHL, Firefly 212 said NHL released branded team masks.
Oh, perfect.
Which, you know what, that totally does do it, because it feels stupid wearing like the medical one. But if it's like one that like, hey, I'm picking this, again, here's my idea. I want to have a mask that is printed beard hair that just kind of hides it, you know? Camouflage for me. How is everyone doing? Thank you, everyone, for watching. Some cool people in there saying things.
I checked the Fark thread. They're still talking about other stuff.
Well,
I mean, they're not ignoring what's going on. They're just got their own thing going on, which is kind of how it rolls.
So the podcast is over at Fark and Schnitt. Is that farkandschnitt.com?
You know, so we got the domain name, but we never hooked it up, I noticed. But if you go to the podcast tab on Fark, you're going to find all the episodes of the podcast and half of the episodes of the live stream, because I keep forgetting to change the goddamn things over to podcast later, including last Friday's episode, which I totally forgot to do now that I think about it. But at any rate, Twitch deletes them after, a week anyway. So what are you going to do?
Very true. Very true. Well, I hope everyone sleeps well tonight, knowing that Macho Man lives inside of all of us. But
yes, literally.
Most importantly, lives inside
some of
Drew.
Us more than others, but yes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If you can find that shirt, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good show shirt right there.
Yeah. Oh, somebody said the copy paste link didn't work here. Let me go get that real quick here. I think they were asking for. Oh no, that was the NHL face coverings one.
Oh,
I can't help you with that one. That was not mine. So anyway, just Google it. I mean, you'll find it.
No, I definitely love it, man. Can you imagine going to a game and everyone? It was one thing to have everyone wearing a T-shirt with your team's colors on. Can you imagine 20,000 people with masks on? That's pretty intimidating and awesome in a way.
Yeah. Right. Although if there were 20,000, I'd be like, even though we're all wearing a mask, I still feel like I'm going to catch it.
Oh yeah, you're definitely.
There's no way I'm getting out of here without a disease. There's no way.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining the show tonight. We shall be back at other times this week. It was a lot of fun doing the movie. If you guys have any recommendations, send those to Drew for something we could watch.
I thought of one the other day, but then I forgot what it was, which is not helpful.
Maybe
we should watch movies I haven't seen, like The Godfather.
Oh, my gosh.
We should get like Todd in here, because I could riff the hell. I think it's better when you make fun of a movie that's good that you haven't seen.
You know what would be funny is, and you could totally do this because you wouldn't get kicked off of somewhere, is you could do a...
Good night, everybody, by the way. Don't wait for us to finish talking. We'll get around to it. Everybody has to leave, take off.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
We could do a Zoom where we played a movie like that, and you can have like 200 people in there.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That might be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. As long as we don't let them talk, though, because it's just going to be really loud.
Okay. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. We'll find something. All right, everyone. We shall see you later in the week. Bye.
Yes.